Hong Kong gets a third-party release for Microsoft Flight Simulator, Gatwick gets a free community upgrade, and Asobo discuss the current status of the roadmap and ongoing work with bugs. The latest roadmap has now a few dates for the next two patches. Update 6 has been marked for the 10th of November, which would place it for a Tuesday release next week. That said, right now there isn't any information at all on what the update might contain. So I'm assuming that it's either not a large update or that the date might move a little. Update 7, meanwhile, is set for the 24th of November. Again, there's not any details on what this will contain. However, do keep in mind that Asobo have said there will be a large update every month. Whilst we didn't receive one of those in October, there was one in September in the form of the Japan update. Then that we might see a large update in November. However, there are of course many issues with the game right now that still need fixing, so these might in fact get a priority. Finally, in late November, Asobo will be releasing a new version of the roadmap, which will take us all the way up to February. So this should give us a bit of insight into what to expect over the next 4 months of Microsoft Flight Simulator. The latest feedback snapshots show Asobo's ongoing work with the sim. These list both the current status of bugs as well as the situation with the community's top wish list. Let's take a look at how things have changed over the past 2 weeks then. So one of the biggest issues is the Garmin related autopilot issues. These have been in the sim since release and continue to be a problem for many people. Asobo now say that the work on fixing these has been started. The downside, however, is that the fix won't be in until February the 21st. That's a huge wait indeed, and I know a lot of people will be disappointed to hear that. I certainly am too. However, that said, I do respect Asobo for being so upfront about this and admitting that the fix is still a way out. Not a lot of developers would be willing to do that, so in my books that certainly puts Asobo in very good standing. Another fix that won't be in for quite a while are the problems with the Airbus A320, that is where it's swaying left and right. This is currently marked for an update 9 fix, which possibly means December or maybe even early January. Live weather inaccuracies remain partially fixed and have now moved out of the backlog and into the ongoing work section. Turboprop engine logic issues are not yet being looked into and remain in the not started category, and the unable to change liveries is something that is currently under investigation. Now, a problem that cropped up a few patches ago, was crashing to desktop without error. This now is apparently partially fixed, but the continued work on this is currently in the backlog, so don't expect to see any more improvements on that just yet. Personally, I haven't had much of an issue with this one myself, but do let me know if it's been affecting you at all. Just leave a comment below. For a long while now, there have been many claims among the community that there have been numerous graphical downgrades, basically general changes and problems with the graphics themselves. These include issues with photogrammetry, low-resolution ground textures, as well as LOD problems with water and trees. Asobo have all of these under investigation. On their live stream last week, on their Q&A live stream, Asobo seemed at pains with these issues, stating very clearly that they're not seeing these problems on their end, and also stating that they haven't made any changes which might cause any of this to happen. However, they are very much aware of the ongoing comments from the community and so appear to be taking it very seriously. This is why, rather than dismissing it, they have it under investigation. So this is actually a good thing, as the graphics for Microsoft Flight Simulator are one of its truly great features. Ensuring they remain the best they possibly can be is just so important, so let's hope that Asobo's investigations actually turn something up here, because from what I'm seeing, at least based on the many comparison screenshots, there's definitely some issues going on somewhere. Some graphical fixes have taken place though, most notably on fixing the grainy looking reflections. Meanwhile, Asobo lists the poor performance that some people are experiencing as partially fixed, and again this is one where further work on performance related issues is now in the backlog, so hopefully the fixes that have gone in so far are good enough for the majority of people. The top wishlist represents the top upvoted feature requests from the community and lists Asobo's current position on them. The list contains 23 issues overall. I won't be focusing on each one of them, instead I will point out what has changed. So between the previous list, released on the 22nd of October, and the current list, released on the 5th of November, there are just 4 changes. These cover things that were released in the recent patch 5. The status of the other 19 items on the wish list remains unchanged. Now, moving on to some community-focused aspects, Hong Kong has always been a favourite destination for flight simmers, in large part due to the famous, or the infamous perhaps, Kai Tak Airport. Often considered one of the most dangerous city airports in the world. Whilst the airport was closed some years back and no longer exists, it still nonetheless remains a popular destination for simmers who want to fly there. After all, the Hong Kong skyline is perhaps among the most recognisable in the world. With this in mind, Samsung 3D have released a new scenery pack for Microsoft Flight Simulator. The current version of Hong Kong that comes with Flight Simulator as default is an AI constructed one. Whilst it does look pretty good, it isn't entirely accurate to the real world. Samsung's 3D's version then, which is priced at $19, features an accurate city which includes over 300 buildings, many of the most famous museums, hotels, banks and landmarks, along with the Victoria Harbour area and Hong Kong's major bridges. Samsung states that all the buildings have been built with PBR material, which should give them a really nice looking graphical effect. The pack will also be updated in the future, which is a very nice touch. If this is something you want to take a look at, you can find the links in the video description. Gatwick Airport in London was one of the handcrafted airports that Asobo included in all versions of Microsoft Flight Simulator. And to be fair, the handcrafted airports have been produced to a great standard. But that's not to say, however, there isn't some room for improvement with these. With that in mind, a free upgrade of Gatwick Airport has been created by community member MKVY and is available on the flightsim.to website. Highlights for the airport update include PBR texture corrections, the addition of 140 remote stands, an update that makes the glass on Gatwick's airbridge transparent, and the ATC tower also has been improved. For the full list of features, as well as a link to the download file itself, do check out the information in the video description. That then brings us to an end of this episode. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys and girls next time.